Hello and welcome to another episode of the Christian Reeve podcast. The Christian Reeve podcast. The Christian Reeve podcast. And today we're talking about Christmas. After doing this show for 5 years, it kind of blows my mind that we've never really done a show about Christmas. I've done New Year's shows, I've done like end of the year recaps and such, but I've never just done a show talking about Christmas. And I guess that's because I'm really not that fussed about this time of year. So this is going to make for an interesting conversation because I don't hate Christmas. I don't love it either. I'm just kind of indifferent to Christmas, which is interesting because it's like, how is this possible? You know what I mean? Like, how can it be possible that you can be indifferent to what is described as a joyous season, a joyous time of the year? But honestly, for me, I don't know, the magic kind of died when I was younger. And I get moments here and there where I feel somewhat in the mood. I mean, certain movies make me feel, I guess, Christmassy. I think the music every now and again makes me feel Christmassy, but more nostalgic than Christmassy, like nostalgic for previous Christmases where I actually enjoyed it. But really, I think it's a season for the kids. And, you know, some people will say it's about family. And I certainly did feel that way when I was younger. But these days, it's just kind of, I don't know. But we'll see. I'll try to be as honest and candid as I can be in this show to give you my honest and truthful opinion as it exists right now about Christmas. So here we go. What does Christmas mean to you personally? I mean, my first response was going to be nothing. Like, it means nothing to me. You know, like I said, I got good memories from childhood, so I cherish them. I think there's a lot of cherished memories, I suppose. But these days, I mean, I don't know, like maybe it's just because I'm older, but I just see it as this like really overpriced holiday where people go into debt and spend money they don't have buying gifts they can't afford for people. And like, it's the spirit of the occasion, I get it, but like, I don't know, I feel like it's kind of gone a bit too far, you know, like, I don't know, I just, for me, it's just really, really like over the top. It's like anything else in society these days. Everything just seems to be about money, and the costs keep going up, and you get less and less and less as things progress, you know, as things move on, you just have less and less and less. And I don't know, I just feel like maybe something went wrong. I don't know. I feel that way about it, and I can't explain it. But that's how I feel. I just, most of the time when Christmas arrives, I just kind of go like, oh, okay. Like, I know I'm going to get ill. Like, right now, I'm really ill. I have a massive headache. And my body tends to sort of break down this time of the year. And I think it's because your body knows that it's going to receive rest. And it just kind of lets go a little bit. And it's like, oh, I got to push through. Work. I think Christmas to me means work. Having to work an unholy amount of time and feeling exhausted and broken down. I think that's what Christmas means to me. How have your Christmas traditions changed over the years? I don't have any at all. Wow, this is getting kind of depressing. I don't have any. You know, when I was a kid, I'd see family, you know, and that was cool. But yeah, I don't know. It's just life moves on, life changes. But I don't have any, I guess. What's your favorite Christmas memory? That's an interesting one. There's some I have to keep private at the request of family members, so I'll honour that. I will say this, though, that there are many moments that my mum made when I was growing up, which I will always cherish. And I think probably the best times were then. But I think that a lot of the magic came from like when you believe in Father Christmas and stuff like that, and just those early Christmases and the sort of feeling of magic and the feeling of excitement going to bed and like, oh my God, Father Christmas has been here. Oh my God. Like that was an exciting feeling, and I never slept from the excitement. It was cool. I enjoyed those Christmases. What are some common misconceptions people have about Christmas? I think that everyone gets to have one. There's always this misconception that you're going to spend time with family, you're going to have people to spend it with at all, that you won't be working. A lot of people have to work Christmas. I've worked Christmas before, and that was one of the most depressing experiences of my entire life. So for anyone who's ever had to work Christmas or will be working Christmas this season, I feel for you. I've been there. It's brutal. But probably that. I think everyone kind of assumes that everyone will have Christmas off, and it's this beautiful occasion where you get to spend it with family. Like, everyone's got a different situation going on. Not everyone has that fairy tale situation, myself included. Like, it's just, life is what it is, and everyone's got a different situation, Yeah. I don't know. I think that's a big misconception, to be honest. How do you balance the holiday stress with the joy of the season? I don't understand when people talk about holiday stress. I think that's just like a rich person's worry. Like, what stress? Unless you have to work and, I don't know, what is the stress going to be over whether or not you can afford the gifts? Well, I don't know. Buy less gifts, don't spend as much, go outside of the box. I don't know. I don't understand that. That just sounds like a rich person's mentality of like, oh my God, stress. Like, I remember I used to work in a supermarket years ago, and I would see people fight over like Christmas turkeys, like actually throw hands. And I remembered thinking, like, this is insanity. That is just insane. And what stress? What holiday stress? There isn't any. Whatever. How do you create a sense of magic and wonder during Christmas, especially if you're an adult? See, this is an interesting question, because I feel like this directly applies to me, because I don't feel anything towards this holiday. I think it's for the kids. I think, as I said before, that's what this holiday is about. It's about making it as magical as possible for the kids. I think if you're an adult, I guess it's all about just trying to spend it with people and making memories and good times. Maybe that's what it's about. I think it's worth trying to get into the Christmas spirit, so to speak, playing games, being silly. I think these are things that make it fun. And like I said, like, look, I like Christmas songs. I like having a bit of a dance to that and singing them, but it kind of reminds me of the past. I don't know that it's necessarily me getting into the spirit so much as it's more about like, just, I don't know, remembering when I was a kid and hearing that for the first time and enjoying that, Anyways. What are some of your family's unique Christmas traditions? It's been a long time since I had like a big family Christmas. But I remember there were things like, we did this thing with scratch cards, which I always thought was kind of cool. And it was a bit of fun. Like, everyone got a scratch card, pretty much no one would win. Maybe one person would win like a fiver. I always thought that was fun. Putting crackers, that's a pretty standard one, isn't it? Wearing the hats that break after like 5 seconds. I remember the desserts. I don't know if that counts as a tradition, but there was a dessert that I really liked, which was just like mince pie with custard. I really liked that. And then like, I don't know, just watching TV, even though like I don't know that anyone's really watching it. I remember like EastEnders sometimes being on and just laughing at how depressing EastEnders was. Like, it's supposed to be the happiest day of the year, and like something always like just really awful and miserable happened in EastEnders at Christmas. That was kind of a tradition, I suppose. How important do you think it is to maintain traditional Christmas customs like decorating the tree or baking cookies? I think it's important to try and create traditions for your own family. Or to just try different things. I think that's important. Just have fun together. Things like decorating a tree, I don't know like how important it is necessarily. I think it's just good to make an effort for each other, maybe. I don't know. Do you have a favorite Christmas drink or food that's essential to your celebrations? So I wouldn't say there's any that are essential, but I love mulled wine. I think mulled wine is just phenomenal, top tier drink. I drank a lot of it when I was in Estonia, living in Europe, and it tasted even better out there, to be honest. They had a non-alcoholic version that was good as well. I remember that. As I say, the mince pie with custard thing was awesome. I never liked panettone or whatever it is. Panettone, is that how you say it? Christmas pudding, I think, is vile. I don't understand why people like that. I think it's just disgusting. I like snacking. Just lots and lots of snacking. Like just a big buffet of snacks and just endlessly like grazing on the snacks. That is essential to me. I suppose cranberry sauce as well. I'm not like big fan of it, but if you think about it, when do you ever eat cranberry sauce apart from Christmas? Like when? It's just, you never do. It's only at Christmas. Like, what else would you have cranberry sauce with? I don't know. I just can't think of any other meal that has it. Maybe pancakes? I don't know. But not cranberry. You'd want to go for something sweet like strawberry or something, wouldn't you? Yeah. How do different cultures around the world celebrate Christmas? Are there any interesting traditions you've encountered? I mean, when I was in Estonia, it all seemed pretty similar to what we do in the UK. I've seen Christmas markets around the world. Similar vibes. It seems like, I don't know, I can't really speak for other cultures. From what I understand, there's a lot of people that don't celebrate Christmas, which is fair enough. But what I saw around the world is pretty uniform, pretty similar, I guess. I don't know. What's your go-to Christmas song or carol? Well, my favourite is Last Christmas by Wham. It's got to be. I really like Christmas Time by Paul McCartney, which apparently everyone hates, which is kind of interesting. I love that song, but everyone hates it apparently and thinks that it's a terrible, terrible song. I also like The Darkness' Christmas Time. I think that's a brilliant song. There's the one that goes like, it's the most wonderful time of the year. That one. Anything with like Frank Sinatra in all the Christmas songs he did. Also, I can't stand Michael Bublé. Oh my god, it's insufferable. And he's a great singer and everything, but it just, something about his voice just irks me, and he only ever tends to come out around Christmas time. Just everything, I'm not a fan of that. Also, I really like that intense carol that's like. I first heard that in Home Alone, the film. I like that, whatever that is. Why do you think certain Christmas songs or movies continue to resonate with people year after year? I think simply because they're timeless, and I can't really speak for like why certain movies like hit, like, I don't know, I was not gonna say like hit a nerve, but like there'll be a song or a movie that will just strike people, and then I think after a while it just becomes tradition then, really, doesn't it? Like if you think of like Love Actually as an example, like that's a movie that's set at Christmas, but it's all about love. It's a love story thing. And I remember like that was brilliant. Like everyone loved that movie. Everyone still loves that movie. And then, you know, they tried to make a bunch of copycat versions and they all sucked. And I think it was because they just had like lightning in a bottle kind of thing. They tried something. It worked. It felt real. It was sort of rooted in realness, and it had some like quirky, silly moments too. It was quintessentially British, I think, as well, which maybe helps. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's just stuff that like becomes part of like popular culture, maybe. Because for me, I feel like there's a cut-off in this sort of early to mid 2000s. Like certain things will break through every now and again, but like I feel like a lot of the Christmas nostalgia is rooted in the sort of, not in the last 20 years, but in the 30 years that preceded that. And it's not to say that things can't break through, and I'm sure there's plenty of things that exist now that people like, but for me personally, I never really hear anything or see anything in the modern era that makes me think, oh yeah, Christmas, that's a new thing, that's a new song, movie that's broken through. But I couldn't tell you specifically what is the thing that makes it possible for said material to break through. Like I think it's just luck, really, being in the right place at the right time. Which Christmas movie do you absolutely have to watch every year? I mean, I don't like always watch them, but I love Elf. I think Elf is good. I like is it What a Wonderful Year? What a Wonderful Life? What a Wonderful Life, I think it's called. Heartbreaking, but fantastic. Home Alone's good. It's a good shout. I mean, there's loads. There's loads of good ones. Christmas Carol. Lots and lots and lots of good ones. Why do you think... Oh, I've already answered that. I skipped a question and then came back to the question before. I'm just losing it, man. Do you have any fun behind-the-scenes stories from making or producing Christmas-themed content? Nope, this is the first time I have ever created anything remotely Christmassy. So, feel Christmassy, people. Feel the season. Do you think there's a perfect Christmas movie, or is that something people experience differently based on their own traditions? I think there's like a handful of movies that capture the spirit of it. Normally the ones where it centers around a family in some shape or form, I think, are there. Like Home Alone, it kind of touches on that a little bit. I don't know. There's a few contenders there. Do you have any tips for thoughtful or creative gift giving? I mean, yeah. Try to pay attention to what the person likes, what they're into, and get them something like that. Like whenever I hear it, like, oh, this person's difficult to buy for. I mean, that's true if like their interests are not obvious. Like if they're a really closed off individual, if they're like elusive, I guess. But like, I don't know, like for example, me, like I would be easy to buy for, I think, because I've got a lot of different interests, a lot of different things I'm passionate about. I'm also not like a fussy person. I'm not like really judgmental. I am often like, I don't want to receive gifts, but I love to give gifts. So I would say like I'm easy to buy for in that sense. But that's what I would say as far as like trying to get a thoughtful gift. If you're just trying to be creative, you're trying to get something, you're not really sure what to get the person, I think trying to build sort of like a mini hamper style deal is a good shout. I think a hamper is cool because you could get like a small basket, decorate it with like ribbons and stuff, and put like little things in there, like little jams and little sweet treats, and maybe even like a small bottle or a big bottle or something. I don't know. And you could do it alcoholic, non-alcoholic. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you could do with that. And oh my god, there's so many just like amazing forms of like wrapping out there, and ways to like present your gifts, you know. Like there's this place, there's one here in Manchester called Sostrine Greens, I think it's called. There's a few of them around the country, and like they've got really tasteful stuff. They even have like a wrapping paper station where you can like wrap your own gift for free once you've bought it, which I thought was pretty neat. I would go there. How do you decide what gifts to give, and do you prefer handmade gifts or store-bought ones? Well, I'm always skint, so I never really can afford to get people gifts, but when I have the money, I tend to just focus on getting kids gifts in my family. I used to obviously buy actual gifts, and then I just kind of got to a point where it was like a card and some money kind of thing, or a gift card or something like that. But when I was getting gifts, it would be kind of looking at the things that they like, or talking to parents and kind of getting an idea of what they would like and going with that. I think handmade is like really risky, unless the other person you're getting stuff for is like really appreciative of something like that. Store-bought is fine, as long as, you know, it's actually going to be something that is meaningful to that person, or maybe useful in some way. What's the most memorable gift you've ever received or given? Can't remember as far as given. I think there's been a few, but yeah. Probably one of the most memorable gifts I ever received, though, was like a poetry book, which was really cool because it was like the person who got it for me like clearly understood I'm a creative person, and I don't know, I just felt like that was a really special gift, and it meant a lot, and it still means a lot. So thanks for that. What are your top decorating tips for making a home feel extra festive without overwhelming the space? Interesting. I think like little small ornaments, lights. I think lighting is a pretty easy one because you can just kind of hang it anywhere, and it kind of builds that ambience maybe that people were looking for. But I don't know. I feel like if ever there's a time to overwhelm the space and go nuts, then Christmas is it, man. Like, it's the only time I would say that more is less. You know, why not? Have the big ass tree, have all the stuff everywhere. Why not? Just go nuts. Enjoy it. That's the Christmas spirit. Do you have any favorite Christmas ornaments or decorations that hold sentimental value? Now, as I said, I've not done Christmas in quite some time. I've seen family here and there. I do remember growing up, there was like this really crap thing that I made out of like popsicle sticks that I poured glitter over. I think I made it in like nursery when I was like 3 or 4 years old, and my mum kept that for years and would put it up at the top of the tree. And I thought that was amazing. I thought that was really cool. I remember one year, like I was like, "You still have that?" And she was like, "Yeah." Eventually, I think it broke or something, but I thought that was really sweet, you know, because it looked like crap, but it was sentimental, and I think that's always going to be more important, really, isn't it, in the grand scheme of things? You want sentimental things. You want things that mean something. What advice would you give to someone who's feeling lonely or stressed during the holidays? Try as much as possible to be with people and have a good time, even if it's at work or whatever. Like, just try to be close to people, and if you can't be, go out, find community, find people. You know, there's always people like yourself that want to meet with others and just have that feeling of togetherness, you know? They are there. And it means getting out of your comfort zone to do it, and that can be quite daunting. But ultimately, I think it would be worth it. As far as people who are stressed, you know, dealing with work and stuff like that, like, you'll get your time off eventually. You know, if it's customer service, I can relate. Once it's over, it's over. You know, hopefully you'll be entitled to a good little break in the new year. If not, maybe think about the paycheck. I know that can seem quite hollow, but you know, you'll get paid decently for your sacrifice. Christmas can be a tough time for some people. How can we assure that the holiday season is inclusive and sensitive to everyone's experiences? Oh, wow. I don't really know how to answer that question. I mean, we're talking about a holiday that really pushes this idea of family and gift giving, and it's very much like a Hallmark holiday thing, and it's a very capitalist heavy season, right? So if you've not got like a family or you know, you've not got close ones, you know, you're lonely, you're dealing with stuff, it's going to be tough. To me, it's similar to like Valentine's Day, and you're alone, and like everyone seems to be in a relationship, and it feels really lonely. It feels suffocating, I think, is the best way to put it. I don't think you can cater for everyone, but I think there's ways you can push this idea of community. I think there's always room for pushing community and making sure like no one gets left behind. I don't know how to do that, but I think community-based initiatives might be a good start. How do you handle the pressure to do it all during the holidays, decorating, cooking, shopping, and socializing? Again, this just seems like more silly rich people first world problems to me. Like, it's supposed to be a joyous occasion. If there's loads of stuff to do, ask for help. You know, it's not all on your shoulders. And you know what? Like, if it's that much of a big deal, just take a step back, you know? It's supposed to be a fun occasion. It's not supposed to be stressful. What pressure? Where is the pressure coming from? Who's giving you pressure? Like, I don't get that. It's just irritating to me to hear that. Let's move it on. I'm getting annoyed now. It's been half an hour and I'm just getting fucked off. What stress? What Christmas stress do you have? Get over yourself. Do you have any traditions of giving back during the holidays, whether through charity or volunteering? You know, I've always given to the homeless. I've done volunteer work during Christmas and also just in general. I try to do what I can when I can. I've always noticed that there's big initiatives pushing through Christmas. But I know this sounds bad, but like everyone's in a bad position these days. Like no one has any money. You know, like the one thing I've noticed is that like all these charities push on the everyday person who is pretty much one paycheck away from joining the people on the streets. You know, if all the rich billionaires decided to like actually help, then maybe we would have less homelessness. Maybe we would have, you know, less people suffering. Why is it left to the everyday person who barely has any pennies in their pocket to help? And the thing I've learned over the years is that like it's often the person that has the least that will, you know, give you their last pennies to help. You know, I've given money that I can't afford before. You know, I used to give tip money when I worked in this hotel when I was at uni, and I had like no money when I was at uni. I was in a really bad place then. But like there was a guy I kept seeing, and you know, I'd give him all my tip money, and that money was a lot for me then. You know, it would be a lot for me now, but I just felt like, you know, it was the right thing to do. But I've always felt like a lot of these charities kind of bully people, to be honest. Like if you work for a charity and you just kind of stand in the middle of the street or knock at people's doors and make them feel bad because they don't give a couple of quid or whatever, like you have no idea like how much, like even just a couple of quid or a £10 or whatever can make the difference for someone, you know? And they'll always throw it back in your face and be like, oh yeah, but these people on the streets and you have somewhere to sleep tonight. And it's like, yeah, but people are living within their means. Like, do you know what living within your means actually means? You've probably not thought about that because you're just paid. And a lot of these people are paid, by the way, to just get donations, you know? And it's good that they're working for a charity and working for a good cause. Like, I applaud that. But like the way that they do these things, I think is kind of bully tactics. And I think it's really disgusting behavior, to be honest. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the tactics they use, how they crowd people in the street. I see them in Manchester on Market Street a lot. And they literally block the path and they will follow you and just shout at you. And it's like, if I'm walking away from you, I obviously do not want to talk to you. So leave me the fuck alone. You know? And then they're like, don't you want to help people? Don't you care about the kids? It's like, yeah, of course. But like, what if I don't have the money? What then? I hate these people so much. You know, the worst types of people that get into like charity and volunteer work. Not everyone. There are some really amazing people that work for charities and volunteer networks. But I don't know, there's a lot of sanctimonious people, very self-serving people who get into that line of work. And I just think that maybe we need to start looking at that and just, I don't know, reevaluating that maybe. How do you instill the true spirit of Christmas, joy, love, and giving in younger generations? Less is more. Stop focusing so much on this kind of capitalist holiday and try to get back to basics. You know, we spoke about tradition earlier. Like, tradition can be something simple, something inexpensive that doesn't put everyone in debt, but at the same time is special. Maybe it's a little Christmas activity, like, you know, doing some scratch cards together and just having a laugh. Or maybe it's you know, just sharing some good food or watching some crappy TV. Like, that to me is what it's about, like sharing with other people and showing that you don't need a lot of money to do that. Like, all it takes is a little bit of effort and everyone coming together and just enjoying each other's company, you know? What's the best way to make a positive impact on someone else's Christmas season? I don't know. Be nice, be giving, invite them to what you're doing. I don't know. I feel like I've already answered that question. How do you envision the future of Christmas celebrations? Will they change as technology technology, family dynamics, and culture evolve? This is interesting. The future of Christmas. I don't know, to be honest. I imagine as we move on with AI and robotics and stuff, there will be the argument of, should we use robots to help us cook Christmas dinner and stuff like that? I think the traditional traditions and cultures will remain, but I think there will be some differences. I can't say what specifically, but I just think that, you know, people love to celebrate and love things like Christmas, and I can't really see that going away anytime soon. Yeah, I don't know. What's something new you'd love to try or do for Christmas that you haven't yet? I'd love to do Christmas in like a really beautiful location, like a nice forest, like somewhere like a beautiful location like Norway, where it's like a log fire type deal, and like it's a really beautiful, almost romantic place. You know, I'd love something like that. That would be really cool. Like a log cabin. I think that would be decent. Is there a Christmas tradition or activity you'd like to start this year or in the future? Not really, no. Sorry, I feel like maybe this show's not turning out like how we thought it would. We thought it would be like kind of exciting and fun, but I don't know. I feel like I'm answering these questions sort of pretty matter-of-factly. And I'm just trying to give honest answers, to be honest. But I just feel like maybe there's not a lot of excitement on my part, but then it's not really something I get excited about. So, yeah, I don't know. If you had to sum up the essence of Christmas in just one sentence, what would it be? The essence of Christmas. I mean, I suppose traditionally it was supposed to be about giving and family. I don't know if it's really about that anymore. I think a lot of it is rooted in idealism and, you know, people watching movies and being like, yeah, that's what life is like. And the reality is not the same. Like, it's never the same. There's elements of it that are real, I think, for sure. But a lot of the time it's just kind of idealistic. But I think if you're really trying to do things for your loved ones, maybe that's where the magic is. That's where the beauty of it is, like in the efforts of people to like connect with each other and celebrate each other, to show interest in one another. You know, I think Christmas is a time when people are supposed to come together. Maybe you don't always get to come together very often. And if that's the case, then you should cherish every moment, right? In theory. That's how I try to look at it anyway. But, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That's all I've got for today. I don't know if that really was what people were looking for. This was a suggestion from our own Vilma. I hope this was okay. Maybe I'll try and address some of the stuff that Vilma said. So what does Christmas mean to you? We covered that. Memories of Christmas. Here's a funny one, actually. I'll share this real quick. I remember one time, because we always lived in flats, and you know, there's the traditional thing of like Father Christmas comes down the chimney, and I remember turning around to my mum one year and being like, how would Father Christmas get into our flat? We don't have a chimney. Like, how is that possible? Like, and obviously I was like, you know, like, what's going on here? Some kind of conspiracy. I think I was like 7, 8 or something. And she just turned around very bluntly and just said, well, obviously we leave keys under the door. Not under the door, under the mat. And I was like, oh, okay. And that made perfect sense to me. And then that was me sold for another couple of years. Like, just really quick, just, yep. Of course it's that. Yeah, I've got a lot of funny stuff I could share, but that needs to stay secret. Because it's family stuff, it's private. We'll get back to working at Christmas. How the Christmas spirit is lost in all the consumerism. Yeah, I mean, we've kind of covered that a little bit. The final point I would say on that is there's just too much obsession over that. You know, there's always going to be consumerism surrounding holidays and that, you know, like anything to do with anything where there's a chance to make a lot of money. You know, there's going to be that consumerist attitude, but that doesn't need to be your attitude. That doesn't need to be what you do just because everyone else is doing it, or, you know, the adverts are telling you to do things that way. Like, focus on you, focus on your family and what you guys would enjoy. I think we've best worst Christmas. So that takes me back to working. The worst Christmas I ever had was working. One year I was in second year of uni, and I was not in a good place in my life, and I don't know, there was a lot of stuff I can't really talk about, private stuff, but my personal life was terrible. And somehow I found myself in the position of working on Christmas Day. And I'd never done it before. And for what it was fine in the sense that, like, we were just serving people like we would normally. And there were families having Christmas dinner and stuff like that. But I think the thing that really hit me was I felt like I should be with family. It felt wrong. It felt like... It just felt wrong. It felt empty and depressing and like I shouldn't be there. I was like, I should be with my own family right now. What is this? I don't know. It was a weird one. But I would not recommend it. If you can get out of working Christmas and New Year's, please do. For those that have to work it, I salute you. It's not easy, but I've been there. But yeah, I don't know. This feels like a somber note to end it on, really. I've tried to be fair. I don't think I've been very grinchy. I think I've been pretty fair with this. It's quite a balanced breakdown of Christmas. But listen, I wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Wishing you all the very best, and I'll see you next year. Peace.